Hello guys. So in this session, we are going to talk about your, topic from chapter 2, that is science, scientific method and its critique. So sociology as science, that's the typical question that you always get. And if you look at the main questions from this chapter, this topic, you will get questions like sociology emerged as a scientific discipline. Discuss a statement in the light of the debate whether sociology is a science or not, right? Or they'll ask you give arguments for and against sociology being a scientific discipline, or they'll ask you, is sociology a science? So these are the questions that typically they'll ask you. And see, for everything there is a structure that we follow. So see, any question from first three chapters, you talk about emergence of sociology. So you'll be saying sociology emerged as a distinct discipline in response to challenges posed before modernity in medieval Europe. So you're talking about medieval Europe, the changes which has been brought in, the modernity and the challenges, and emerged as a distinct discipline. Everything is mentioned in this. Initial sociologists wanted to make it similar to natural science, so they use methods and perspectives and everything similar to science in the beginning in sociology. So that's why later these questions have arisen. Since sociology is dealing with human beings, how can you use a method similar to natural science, as human beings have emotions and all those things? So how can you conduct objective study just like in natural science? How can you use scientific methods in sociology? So these are the questions or the objections raised over a period of time. So this is the context of this debate. So you need to talk about emergence of sociology and what the initial sociologists wanted to do, how they tried to make it similar to natural science. I hope you remember that Saint Simon even thought of social physics similar to natural science physics. That's the science of society. And then how later objections were raised about this approach. So this is what the context. Now, once you set the context, now what you need to do, you need to see what is science is all about. What is the initial understanding of science, right? And how the understanding of science have been changed over a period of time. So what was the initial understanding of science, and gradually how science is taken into consideration. So initial understanding of science is something which is very different, so that we are going to discuss. And at the same time, later the understanding of science have changed. It became simply systematic study, right? That's how you can consider or define science later. So I'll be talking about this. I'm just giving you the structure, okay? So gradually, over a period of time, science came to be understood more in terms of method of inquiry rather than body of knowledge. It's not about what you study. It's about how you study. This is what the understanding of science over a period of time. Earlier, it is all about what you study, right? You need to make universal laws and all those things, right? But here, it is about how you study. Earlier, it's all about what you study, the empirical reality, all those. Now, science is understood more in terms of method of inquiry rather than body of knowledge. When I say method of inquiry means how you study. It's not about it's not about what you study. It's method of inquiry which is more important. If method of inquiry is scientific, then you can consider that body of knowledge as scientific. This is the understanding. And there are certain conditions for science which are laid down, like inter-subject reliability, objectivity, quantifiability, theoretical orientation, testability, prediction, etc. And we need to now analyze whether sociology satisfies this condition or not. If so, it qualifies to be science. And if there is any criticism, if there are any areas where sociology won't satisfy these conditions, that negative also we need to discuss, and we need to conclude whether sociology is a science or not. So let's start the discussion, guys. So first line, you will be talking about emergence of sociology and other things, and the orientation of initial sociologists wanted to make it similar to natural science, that you will discuss, right? See, why they have motivated like that? Because the scientific revolution in the field of astronomy, medical science, physics, and biology, all these led intellectuals to dream of a discipline which could generate similar universal laws of social organization. Saint Simon even dreamt of social physics. Auguste Comte, the founding father of sociology, claimed to have developed universal laws of social organization. Similarly, if you talk about Herbert Spencer's organismic analogy, which was again guided by the same assumptions of science, he compared society with organism. We discussed that in scope of sociology. So again, as sociology developed, questions were raised on the possibility of employing the basic assumptions of natural science directly in sociology. Can it be possible? Because sociology is entirely different than the natural science. So objections were raised over a period of time on the validity of the universal laws developed by the initial sociologist also. And this initiated the debate on the nature of sociology, whether sociology is a science or not. So I hope you got the context. From this, what I have discussed, you hardly need 30, 40 words in your first paragraph to set the context. Okay, now let's try to understand science. What is the initial understanding of science? See, a body of knowledge was considered as science only if it yields universal laws and it need to conform to the ideals of empiricism, inductivism. So empirical reality, it should be based on theory building, which is through an inductive approach. So that's when a body of knowledge is considered as science. But later, subsequently, with the intellectual development, the conception of science underwent a change. The understanding of science underwent a change. As I've discussed before, science came to be understood more in terms of method of inquiry, which means how you study, rather than the body of knowledge, means what you study. So it's not about what you study, it's about how you study. Previously, it's about what you empirical reality, which means what you study. Here it's all about how you study. So science has been defined as a systematic study based on evidence and reason. If your understanding or study is based on evidence and reason, if it is systematic, then it can be considered as science. So it assumes that if explanations are given in a logical, scientific, or reasoned manner, they must be considered as scientific. Now, see, if the first definition is the case that we are considering, and we are going to advocate for sociology being science, is there any scope? No. Sociology is not going to be science. But if we consider the second definition of science, that means it's all about how you study. If it is based on evidence and reason, if it is based on logic, if it is a systematic study, then can we advocate for sociology being science or not? Yes, there is a possibility. Okay, so what we need to do now, we need to list down the conditions. What are the conditions or for science? As I told you, inter-subject reliability, objectivity, quantifiability, theoretical orientation, testing. So let's look at one by one. Let's talk about inter-subject reliability first. See, when we talk about inter-subject reliability, what does that mean? Across the subject, you talk about any topic, it should have same meaning for different people. Okay, so that's what inter-subject reliability. Different subjects, if you take, it should have same meaning for across a subject. Now, objectivity. What is that? See, the possibility of undertaking investigation without any personal bias or preconception. That's what objectivity. It's a separate topic. I need to discuss it separately. Again, quantifiability. So it should be possible to observe things in a quantifiable manner. That is, the scope of the subject matter should be defined very clearly. So it should be quantified. Then coming to theoretical orientation. What is that? A body of knowledge must be capable of generating theories. So a mere collection of facts cannot be called a science. There should be a possibility of generalization. Theory should be there. Now what we can do is, considering these elements, we can see whether science have anything in favor of sociology have anything in favor of these elements. Let's start with intersubject. You can take one by one and you can explain. See, as a body of knowledge, sociology is considered a scientific discipline on the basis of following argument. This is how you can title and you can analyze the arguments in favor. Let's talk about intersubject reliability. Is there intersubject reliability? There is a considerable amount of intersubject reliability in the concepts framed by sociology. I'm not saying absolutely across a subject it is the same. I'm using the word considerable amount of intersubject reliability, very important. So I repeat, there is a considerable amount of intersubject reliability for the concepts which is framed in sociology. Like concepts like family, across a subject, it's having the same meaning. Religion, group, all these are designed and defined precisely and have same meaning for all. No confusion, right? And again, social objects or phenomena can be observed in a concrete form through proper description using case studies. Various phenomena like social groups, social institutions have been quantified clearly. Emile Durkheim, while defining the scope of sociology, tried to quantify even the extreme abstract forms, like in his theory of social facts. He defined and quantified in terms of social facts. Coming to objectivity. Guys, remember this always. Again, here I'm talking about objectivity. My point is complete objectivity, absolute objectivity. Is it possible? It is not possible. Is it desirable? In sociology, it is not desirable. Why it is not possible? Because you're dealing with human beings, human emotions, and everything will come. That is why it is not desirable also. So absolute objectivity is neither possible nor desirable in sociology. So what you can say here is, although Absolute objectivity is not possible, but sociology has ensured objectivity by using scientific methodology and proper training of the investigator. Perfect. Just like considerable amount of intersubject reliability. Here I'm saying, although absolute objectivity is not possible, but we have maximized by doing certain things, right? Using proper methods, proper training of the investigator. Because objectivity issue come from value, the investigator. So training of investigator will help. Now, next is theoretical aspect, right? So, do we have theories? Yes, you can give a lot of examples. So, sociology have developed theories which have considerable applicability in number of situations. See, there is an apprehension regarding the success of universal theories. Still, the subject matter of sociology is capable of yielding some theories. You have Marx theory of historical materialism, Durkheim theory of division of labor, Weber theory of capitalism, Mead's theory of self, all have wide acceptance and widely applicable also. This you can give as an example. Coming to the testing part, sociology use different methods, and the whole society is a testing ground for sociologists. So, what you can conclude, not conclusion in this area, in this part, arguments in favor. Sociology witnessed a large number of similar situation, where the qualities of science, the elements of science which you witnessed comes in favor of sociology. Okay, so there are theoretical possibilities, there are testability. The sociology witnessed a large number of similar situations in which the theories can be tested. Objectivity can be ensured. It's not complete, but still we are ensuring. Now, what are the limitations? See, guys, there are limitations, right? In terms of theory, there are limitations. In terms of testability, your limitations. So objectivity, there are limitations. So that you can write in one or two lines. So in terms of sociology being similar to natural science, I'm not talking about science. I'm talking about natural science. Science is different. Understanding of science is different. Natural sciences at its core. So I'm now talking about natural science. In terms of sociology being similar to natural science, there may be a number of limitations, like limit to empirical testability. Like what you do in science lab, physics lab, or chemistry lab may not be possible in sociology because you study about family, religion, etc. It's not possible. There is a limitation. And such universal theories also, there is a limited scope. If you compare with natural science, then there is limitation. Absolute objectivity as desirable in natural science, it is desirable. You're dealing with chemistry, mixing two things, you know what is the outcome. It is objective, right? So that is not possible in sociology. At times, there are obvious limitations on experimentation in sociology. This we know. So compared to natural science, we won't get these things. Apart from this, again, sociological investigations sometimes generate controversies related to vagueness in concept because that's a subject matter. Variations in social phenomena, it varies, depends on society to society, right? It depends on people. Unpredictable nature of human beings because each of human beings are having different consciousness and totally unpredictable. So what's the conclusion? So in conclusion, what we can say is, see, we can acknowledge that sociology is not a science similar to natural science. We understood what is natural science. And can sociology similar to that? No, there are limitations. So what we say, sociology is not similar to natural science, but it's a science in itself. Why? Because of the definition I gave you. It's a systematic study. It is based on evidence and reason. So it's a science, but it's not similar to natural. This should be our conclusion. Sociology is not similar to natural science, but it's a science in itself. The difference in the nature of sociology is drawn from the basic subject matter. The ultimate reducible element here is the individual. On the other hand, natural science is a matter. Matter do not have consciousness. The behavior can be predicted. You boil water at 100 degrees Celsius, you know what is going to happen. You freeze it at 0 degrees Celsius, you know what is going to happen. That's not the case with individual. So there is a difference in subject matter. And if you talk about Weber, according to Weber, natural study, this statement you can write. Natural science study matter, which is not having any consciousness, and the behavior can be predicted in terms of cause and effect. On the other hand, sociology studies human beings, behavior of which cannot be predicted, and the exact laws are not possible. According to him, sociology is a scientific discipline as it can study the subject matter by using scientific method. So my point here is sociology is a science in itself, but not similar to natural science. It's a social science. You quote Weber. According to Weber, natural science study matter, which is not having any consciousness, And since it's not having any consciousness, the behavior can be predicted easily. You can establish cause and effect easily and objectively. But sociology studies human beings. Behavior cannot be predicted. Exact laws not possible. Objectivity is not possible because human beings behave differently. Human consciousness is different. So according to him, sociology is a scientific discipline. Why? Because it studies the subject matter using scientific method. Remember the second definition? It's not about what you study. It's not about whether you study matter or human being. It's about how you study. If it is based on evidence and reason, if it is a systematic study, then it is a science. So what we can say now, sociology is a social science. Moreover, the famous statement by Karl Popper further proves sociology to be scientific discipline. So what he says is the same thing. Science is not a body of knowledge. It's a method of studying a phenomena. So if the method of inquiry or method of studying a phenomena is scientific, then you can consider it as science. So guys, I hope you understood this topic, and that's about this session. Thank you for attending. In case if you're looking for sociology mentorship or class or test series, you can get in touch with me. The details are given in the description. Go through that. See you in the next video. Thank you so much. If you like the video, if you find it useful, share it with your friends also. Thank you so much.